Okay. All right. All right. We're good. Okay. Yeah, you can tell I'm nervous. All right. Welcome to Play Under Review. I am your host. Don't judge me. BH513. And today we have a special guest with us today. We have Sid the Kid 43, aka my wife. How you doing, baby?
Yeah.
So, once again, make sure for the channel that you like, comment, share, and subscribe to it. We're going to do a little bit of something special today. So, talk to my wife, and at least once a month, we're going to do a series called House Divided between the two of us, where we talk about just all types of sports news and our teams, especially. Talk about the things that we're excited for, like the draft that's coming up, for example. So we're going to do this at least once per month, and we're going to see how this goes. So, as you can see, unfortunately, my wife is a Steelers fan.
You asked me to marry you, knowing that I was a Steelers fan.
So,
you wanted all this.
We're not, sometimes we just don't control, the women that we fall in love with.
You sure don't control. No. What? Blooper? Blooper for real?
Anyways, so my wife's a Steelers fan, so I figured, and she's a whole box of crayons. As some of you all who don't know or can imagine from the bloopers I have put up, and of course, all our friends, we know that she is a very, very colorful box of crayons.
They don't know who was behind that voice. It could have been anybody.
They should know. I put it saying it was my wife. The person.
There was no face. I'm
okay.
just saying, this is alleged. There are no receipts.
First of all, I don't know why she's denying it, because any other woman that would be in the background of my video, she would pop all the way off. So, all right, we're going to stop with these lies, and we're just going to go ahead and get into it. So, why don't you tell the viewers why you are a Steelers fan?
Because it's a good team. What? What? Like, why I am a Steelers fan, or how I started?
How did you become a Steelers fan? Like, how did you, especially for like the I'm not gonna put all her information out there. I'll say she's not from Pittsburgh, so
I'm not. North Cackalack.
She's from North Kakalaki.
Bull City.
Go ahead and throw it up.
Put the glasses down.
So, how did you, being that you're not even from Pittsburgh, from Carolina, how did you become North?
We don't talk about them.
North Carolina. You see all this sass? How did you become?
We don't talk about them other ones.
How did you become a Steelers fan, being that you're from North Carolina?
For a while, I didn't really watch football. I couldn't get into it because really, like, growing up in North Carolina, all you saw was the Panthers. I knew that, like, my mom, shout out mom. I knew that my mom, she watched football. Mm-hmm. I didn't pay too much attention to it because I thought it was just, like, her being a supportive wife because her husband watched football. But yeah, so I didn't really pay that much attention to it. We would go to, like, Super Bowl parties and all that kind of stuff. And, it was always centered around the Panthers in one way, form, or fashion. And every time I see them on the screen, I'm not going to lie, it was boring. It was boring. So I couldn't get into it. Mm. And one day I decided to give it a shot. I try new things. Yeah. You never know, if a hobby or something like that really is up your alley and you just didn't approach it from, the right direction or whatever. So I was like, well, let me just sit down, watch some games. Maybe it's not me. Maybe it's the Panthers. It was the Panthers. So I, at some point was, like the TV was on. My mom had probably put it on and just had like football going on in the background while she was doing stuff around the house or whatever. And so like I was just watching these different games and the Steelers that came on, and I don't even remember exactly who they were playing. I'd have to look it up. Might have been Baltimore. I hope it was Baltimore. Troy.
You don't like Baltimore.
I really hope we were playing Baltimore. Troy was just like running downhill from the back of the field and hit this dude so hard he flipped him in the air and just like ran through him. And I said, "That's my team." It's the thing that I did like as I was watching the different games. That I found was the physical aspect of the sport. And so at the time, we had the Troy Polamalu's and the James Harrisons of that time period on our defense. And just watching them play, I fell in love with them.
Just to let the viewers know, specifically the men, as you can see, there are women out there that do like football. So I'm going to need y'all not to downplay women that are trying to get into football, because this one's hardcore. And I, as a happy little camper, with the fact that my wife is a football fan. So yeah, this beautifulness is living proof right here. We were talking about it as far as the things like we wanted to discuss. The main thing is like we hope that we can continue this, and then as we like get comfortable with our setup and different things of that nature, hopefully like what we want to do with this segment improves over time. One thing we definitely wanted to talk about was the NFL draft, like in anticipation for the NFL draft, and like what we're excited about, like little things, small things. It can be just whatever. I know for me, we talked about this before. I know for me, one of the things I'm excited about is the Bengals hopefully drafting Penei Sewell. I am, for the Bengals fans, there's been a Sewell versus Team Chase thing going on, so I am Team Sewell. So I'm hoping that we can draft Sewell because I don't want to see a matching scar on Joe Burrow's leg. So
the man got a whole new fresh set of caps.
Yeah, he got a whole
fresh set of caps.
Whole new fresh set of caps. You can see the scar and everything where they put the new caps in. So yeah, that's one thing I'm definitely looking forward to. But like either way, like in my opinion. And I think that's what a lot of fans on this end have said, like, you know, summer team Penei, summer team Sewell. But it's like either way, if they went with Chase, it's not who I would want, but I'm not going to complain because Chase is not, I'm not going to complain.
No, I'm just laughing at the fact that you're so like hardcore team Penei Sewell that you said some people are team Penei, some people are team Sewell. I said that's
how hardcore I am. There's no team Chase. It is either team Sewell or team Penei. Nothing else.
That's passion right there. All right.
But yes, okay, yeah. Team. I'm about to do it again. Team Sewell, team Chase. Yes. Okay. So either team, I'm not gonna trip if they draft Jamar Chase. I'm not gonna trip because he's a bona fide stud at the wide receiver position. Mm-hmm. So like I'm not gonna complain about it either way, but I do understand that although he's a bona fide stud, I still want Sewell. Knowing the fact that, yes, it would be nice to get another offensive weapon, but it's not like Higgins, for example, because I don't think it was the first round. It's not like Higgins was drafted in the first round.
Look it up.
Go ahead, look it up. It's not like T. Higgins was drafted in the first round. Tyler Boyd wasn't drafted in the first round. I think AJ Green was drafted in the first round. He's a franchise wide receiver. Chad Johnson was drafted. I believe he was drafted. Was he drafted in the first round? I want to say he was drafted in the first round, but he was a star wide receiver. But it's like at the same time, like the Bengals know, like one of the strongest, to me, in my opinion, one of the strongest positions that the Bengals draft that is wide receiver. So if we hypothetically do draft Penei Sewell, it's not like we're not gonna be able to find a Marvin Jones or a Mohamed Sanu in the later rounds. And like, you know, you can't sit up here and say that we don't exactly have firepower because I think for Boyd, if it wasn't for the concussions that he had, because I think it was at least, when he had a concussion, he was out for like 2 or 3 games, so that kind of set him back. and I think they had pulled him out in one of the games. But if it wasn't for that, he would have had 1,000 yards for the season. And T. Higgins was on his way to 1,000 yards before he got hurt, and that was a rookie that they drafted. I think he was at like at least maybe late 800, early 900s. But we were on the way of having 2,000-yard receivers. So I mean, we can spare I think we can spare getting a wide receiver in later rounds.
So I'm assuming you guys do have a second round pick.
Yes.
So I looked it up. Well, like I found the answer to the question of what round Higgins was drafted in. So he was second round pick.
Okay.
And I was trying to see if I could find like where like a list of what your wide receiver draft history was.
Yeah.
But it's too much. I'm not finding the answer quick. My millennials kicking in. So personally, I'm not as well versed in what's going on with the Bengals. Naturally. Personally, if I was in your shoes, right, I would be looking closer at the O-line, given the fact that, I mean, Burrow was falling apart at the seams by the end of the season. Like, the man didn't finish the season. Yes. So, like, by the end of his season, he was all raggedy at the joints.
His ACL, his PCL, his MCL, his everything CL.
They found all the CLs and said, bump them.
Yeah.
You don't need these. Give me them.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you guys picked up Burrow, that to me said, y'all were ready to make that like heavy investment in your next franchise, right? And if you recall, we had this conversation at the end of not this past season, but the previous season, so the 2019 season. When we were talking about y'all's quarterback situation, you were saying that you guys need a quarterback. I was like, I agree. Yeah, y'all need somebody, but y'all need an O-line to protect them. Yeah. Because it bugs me when you have these really great, rookie quarterbacks that have so much potential, and they end up in an Andrew Luck type situation or an RG3 situation where like injury just kills, the cap of their career.
Yeah.
And if y'all don't fortify your O-line, Burrow's gonna be the next on that list.
He's gonna be on his back again.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I totally agree. Because I mean, you if you remember last season, like when we were like the times I was watching Burrow play, if you remember, I think it may have been I can't remember if it was 2 games or just one, but at least let's say at most prior to 2 games before he got injured, one game he was getting demolished. There was no presence of protecting him, and he just wound up on his back so many times. And I think that was a game where he threw like 60 times that game. And
was that the first one?
I don't think it was the first.
Was that the one he ran for a touchdown? It was the only
touchdown. I do remember that game where he was on that, screw this, I'll do it myself. And he escaped and ran straight through the middle for a touchdown. That was towards the beginning of the season. What I'm talking about is like, I think he played 10 games. So the 10th game, of course, he got hurt out for the season. And it may have been like the 8th or 9th game where something had happened where he got hit hard. And I was like, I don't care that he wants to stay in. I mean, kudos to him. He's a football player. He wants to play. But I was talking to you, and I don't know if you remember, I was like, I don't care if he still wants to play. You as the organization need to pull him out because this is too much. He's going to get hurt if you keep going like this. A couple of games later, he got hurt. But I'm not going to complain. Just so long as they have a plan to fortify the offensive line. Like, I'm not going to complain. I just know that Penei Sewell is a surefire bet to make noise on the offensive line. And I'm looking for surefire bets at this point on offensive line because who has replaced Andrew Whitworth and Kevin Zeitler? So, yeah. Oh, yeah, Cedric Ogbuehi. He replaced him. Don't even know where he is now. I'm guessing Jacksonville, the Seahawks, or I'm about to look it up. I think it's Jacksonville Seahawks are my guess. And Russell Bodine, that dude from North Carolina. See, that's where you messed up. You drafted somebody from North Carolina or University of North Carolina. I don't.
Diarrhea.
He he may still be in the league. I think he may still be with the Bills, but nah, Cedric Ogbuehi. I think Seattle. Okay, I was like, yeah, Jacksonville, Seattle, 1 and 2. But he ain't with us. Neither is Bodine. Actually, I can't. You know what? I can't even remember the other guy. It was Ogbuehi and another guy that was apparently supposed to replace Andrew Whitworth, one of them, and they're both not even on the team.
Well, you know, my philosophy, for lack of better words, is nobody that you draft is surefire.
Yeah.
And I know some people are going to disagree with that. I don't care. I said what I said. Nobody that you draft is surefire, just because, first of all, anything can happen between them shaking Goodell's hopefully Rona-free hand at the draft and then hitting the field, come the start of the regular season. So anything can happen. The other thing is when these teams are they're drafting these guys and signing the undrafted free agents, you're assuming that whatever skill set and hoping that whatever skill set you saw in them in that college tape translates to the NFL.
Yeah.
And in some cases, it's not even necessarily they can't physically do it. It's just a lot of pressure. Ask Artie Burns.
Okay. Speaking of Artie Burns, we're rivals. We be talking trash every now and then. At the same time, this is a safe space. So, what's going on with your Steelers? Hold on, y'all. Let me make sure turn up the volume a little bit. We gotta make sure y'all hear this. Okay. All right. Make sure they can hear it. All right.
I don't know. The scary thing is, I don't think they do either.
Okay.
I feel like, we were already, and some people may disagree with this, I feel like we were already in a bad place because I don't think they really put in enough effort to finding Ben's replacement, the next man up. I really liked Josh Dobbs. I think he's a pretty good backup. Mason is an okay backup. I actually like Dobbs better. In talking to different Steelers fans or just people that have watched our games or whatever and watched the two play, I've just heard back and forth. Like some people like Mason better than Dobbs, some people like Dobbs better than Mason. I personally like more of a mobile quarterback, and it's probably why I favor Dobbs over Mason. Ben spoiled me. Young Ben spoiled me. He did. I need for my quarterback to be able to be able to get out of situations, to be able to juke, make moves, swing dudes off, make his way down the field, and run that touchdown if he has to.
Yeah.
There's open field there. There's no reason why you should not be able to run those 5 yards into the end zone.
Yeah.
No reason whatsoever. Yeah. Right. I don't see that in Mason. I personally think he should be our third string. I mean that's not going to happen based on what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing. But in any case, whatever case, we don't have Landry Jones.
I'm sure there's Steelers fans that can remember, who that can remember but don't want to remember who Landry Jones is. But
trash.
And I'm making sure you all know, because if you ask her who Landry Jones is,
trash.
Exactly. So Landry Jones, for the people that don't know, was a longtime Steelers backup quarterback who, according to some Steelers fans, including this one, he should have been gone a long time ago.
Why was he on the roster? Jesus.
There were times where I was hanging out with her where, I don't I definitely think you did it. I can't remember if I did, but I remember at least it being a couple times for her where she called it out when he was going to throw a pick.
I sure did. I remember that Miami game. We was playing in Miami, and Ben got hurt, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people right now feel triggered. All the Steelers fans watching this video right now feel triggered. Yeah, I remember this game. The Steelers fans watching this video, they remember. Ben got hurt, and I was just like, wait a minute. Who's our backup? Is he still here? It was close to the beginning of the season.
I have arrived.
And he stepped on the field, and I was like, watch him throw a pick. His first pass was either almost intercepted or it was intercepted.
I think it was intercepted.
It was either the first pass was almost intercepted and the second one was. Because he only threw 2 passes.
Either way, he got picked off.
And then the defense was back on the field.
Yeah.
He got picked off.
Either way, we know he got picked off.
I knew the game was going in the garbage when I saw him step on the field.
Yep.
And it just I'm trying, like I'm pausing because I'm censoring myself before I talk. So I've gone through like 3 sentences already. I'm like, nope, not that one. Not that one. Not that one. The clearest thing I can say is it gives me violent diarrhea just to think about him being on our roster. It just does.
Do you want me to like caution them and so you can let it out real quick?
No, it's fine. It's fine. We're fine. We're here.
This is good.
This is good.
It's fine.
Bring it back to the present.
Plays in the background.
We have Dobbs and Rudolph and Haskins. Haskins? I guess. My mom was mad.
And I don't understand why she was mad because it's not like he could be a bust. He could possibly be a bust. You don't know yet because it's so early in his career. I think this is his second or third year. He ain't been in the league for long. So it's just like, and the Steelers didn't pay much for him. And like they haven't been doing a good job, like you said, but they need to find a successor. So to me, this is nothing but like upside. If it doesn't work out, it's not like you broke the bank for him. If he does work out, oh hey, happy accident. And I can imagine, because I think it's a 1-year deal. I can imagine him being appreciative of them even offering that deal to him. So if something happens like this year, something crazy, where he's playing for a couple of games and he's like lights out, and they want to talk about re-signing him, he probably would strongly consider it, given the fact that the Steelers were the one that gave him another chance. So,
yeah, I mean, if he doesn't find money elsewhere, I'm not sure how he'll jive, with our offense and all that. But I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember exactly what they offered him. I was stuck on the fact that it was Haskins, and yeah, I don't have strong feelings either way about that move, just because I do know that, like I said, we don't have Ben's replacement on the roster. At least coming out of the 2020 season, we didn't have him on the roster. So now, as they're starting to make roster moves, now that Haskins is up there, who knows what they're going to do when the draft goes around the end of the week. They may pick up another quarterback. I don't know, and drop one of the ones that they have. Yeah. So things might change when I start to see them, hit the field. I don't know.
Yeah.
We may have them on the roster now. Who knows? We didn't this past season. And so it just made me nervous. I think it's, circling back to how I started. Yeah, it made me nervous going into the season, knowing that, Ben is old. I love what he's done for the team. I respect Ben Roethlisberger, regardless of what anybody else says. 'Cause he does have people that, whether he's Steelers fans or not, don't care for him, don't care for him playing for our team or whatever. He's at the end of his career. I'm surprised that he's saying he's coming back next year. Yeah. And just, I had hope that we were really going to make it to the Super Bowl, regardless of what people were saying, that, we were a fake undefeated team for 11 games. How that happens,
she was real triggered about that.
I don't know. I was very triggered about that. Can we talk about that for a second?
We sure can.
It's, and I don't play in the NFL. Clearly, I don't. But just from what you see on game day, on the Sundays and the Mondays and the Thursdays, and depending on what time of year you're looking, maybe even on Saturday. Um, Listening to players talk, whether it be current players, past players, especially the past players. Football is hard. NFL is hard. It's hard to win a game playing against those other professionals, playing against those other starters, right? Let alone win 11 straight.
Yeah.
But we were considered to be a fake undefeated team.
Yeah.
And then we lost to the Bills, and all of a sudden they were great just because they beat the fake undefeated team.
Mm-hmm.
The Ace 513.
Mm-hmm.
Make it make sense. Make it make sense.
Yeah,
I haven't figured it out yet.
I will admit, like, initially when I started hearing different things about that, like before, I think this was before I talked to you and had an in-depth conversation about it. Like, when I first started hearing things, I was like, well, I guess I can understand where they're coming from. Initially, that's what I was thinking, because I think when they were taught, like, even I'm not getting into like the dramaticism some of them had, because some of them, like some of like the analysts and stuff, they like ethered the Steelers, but there were some who were like just were breaking it down and saying like, I think a lot of people see the fact that, I think it's more so earlier on into y'all street, that you all were knocking down some of these teams that were either considered okay or just trash. And they were like, at one point was like, he's like, yeah, they're undefeated, but how is the pressure going to be on this whole squad where they're riding this high, but they really haven't had a challenge? And I think when I had a conversation with you, you had mentioned like the Bills thing, where you were talking about analysts were saying like, they're a fake undefeated team, but then when the Bills came up against y'all and the Bills beat y'all, the narrative became, the Bills beat the Steelers and this and that.
Shut up about it. Oh my
God. So, I mean, as a fan of my team, I'm like, yes, let it burn, yes. But as a husband who, she knows I'm a diehard Bengals fan, but I don't like to see her mad. I really don't. Like, I'll deal with her being happy in the house. Y'all should see her when she's happy in the house. It's beautiful. So as a fan, part of me was just like, but like, just looking at it from her perspective, being that she's my wife and she's a Steelers fan, I can see where she was coming from. I mean, if people are talking about how the Bills beat the Steelers and that was a big challenge, this and that and third, and it's just like, well, what's the Steelers then? At this point they're just the redheaded stepchild. But then again, it's crazy because with the Bills, like, I think you've heard me say this before, I love the Bills Mafia. Like, they're freaking crazy. I love them. It's a love affair between the Cincinnati Bengals fans and Bills Mafia. I love them. But it's some of I'm not talking about the Bills Mafia. This Bills Mafia is what I love. I'm talking about, like, with any fan base, the ignorant Bills fans, not the Bills Mafia, the ignorant Bills fans. Like, it doesn't help. But I think it also wasn't just about the Steelers. They hyped up Josh Allen so much because he was playing lights out this year, and he improved a lot. But they were hyping him up so much where they just wanted the Bills to be good. Like analysts, they wanted Josh Allen to get shine, and they were talking about him in MVP conversations and stuff like that, and they were comparing him to Lamar Jackson, stuff like that. It didn't help that the Bills went up against the Ravens. I don't like the Ravens, and I was loving it, but it's just kind of a catch-22. Like, as soon as when the Ravens lost, because I think it was in the playoffs, they lost against the Bills. The Ravens lost against the Bills, right? I think it was in the playoffs this past season.
Yes.
Yeah, we were hyped. We were hyped.
Yes,
we
it was
hyped.
beautiful.
Let it burn.
Beautiful.
Let it burn.
Yes, Bills. Yes.
And I was like, oh, I love y'all. I love y'all so much. But no, it was kind of a catch-22 because I don't like the Ravens.
Nobody does.
And I hate the fact that Lamar Jackson's on the Ravens. But as a NFL fan, I love Lamar Jackson.
Jamar Laxton.
Yes, I love Jamar Laxton. I love him. But as soon as the Ravens lost, I was bubbling happy on the inside. But I specifically looked at Lamar Jackson. They're gonna throw him under the bus, and I think it wasn't just the Steelers. It's for whatever reason they try to put this past season. It seems like they try to put Josh Allen on this pedestal, like he was just one of the greats, and it was just like I like him as a quarterback, but
I didn't have an issue with that, with the fact that they were like hyping him up. Because I mean, to be honest, with how he was playing when he first got in the league, I mean, the guys made phenomenal.
He made phenomenal moves.
Phenomenal.
Yeah. Phenomenal.
Yeah. Words.
Phenomenal. I'll put that in the edits.
He made
phenomenal.
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 Spell it right. Phenomenal.
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 Yeah, phenomenal. Don't do that. Get back to your point, woman.
Yeah, so I mean, the guy made phenomenal progress from that point, up to this past season. And I don't want anybody to take my frustration with that game the wrong way. I had no problem with the fact that that we lost necessarily, because again, it goes back to my one of the first points that I made about this was this, it's hard to win a game in the NFL when you're going against these other teams of professionals. It's professionals against professionals. It's not like you're playing, little leaguers on the other side. You know what I mean? So it's it is, you're not gonna win every single game. It's great to have those undefeated seasons, but to me, an undefeated season as a fan just makes me nervous for the postseason coming up, because you don't have that humility that was able to develop maybe with some of your younger guys, the ones that haven't gone to into the postseason yet, or even just some of the old heads who have a tendency to have to get big headed, have ego trips, going to the playoffs. So if we're gonna take an L, I'd rather do it now when it matters less.
Yeah.
Take
that L that pisses you off so you can be ready for the next.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't go in underestimating your opponent.
Yep.
And my thing about the loss was more so how, like, what analysts and folks like on social media or whatever, which was trying to make it mean.
Yeah.
And it's like, because we had finally lost, because we lost and it was against the Bills, now it meant that the Bills were so great because they beat us.
Yeah.
And it's like, but are we not the same team that y'all said was trash?
But we fake though.
But right, we're fake, but the Bills are great because they beat a fake team. It's like, you're not making any sense. And if you're not gonna make sense, stop talking about it. You know what I mean? Just it really pissed me off when it happened.
So
it did.
In some ways, we can't make it make sense.
We can't, because it doesn't. And it's, I've said before to some folks, I think I mentioned this to you. I really feel like you have some commentators or analysts or whatever who, for whatever reason, they just act like they don't like Pittsburgh. You know, we can have seasons where either a quarterback or, you know, another player or just the team itself is like breaking records and all that kind of stuff. And when they're talking about NFL news, they may mention it.
Yeah.
And they roll on to the next thing.
Yeah.
And then when other teams do it, they make it a big deal.
Yeah.
You know, and we've got a season like we had where we got, you know, 11 wins, no losses, and it's a fake team. You know how hard it is to win 11 consecutive games? Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter who your opponent is. I mean, ask these teams that have lost against you know, your trash Cleveland Browns and your, who was that? Was it the Chargers that had that defeated season?
No, the Chargers survived. They won one game towards the end. I think it was Detroit.
There was it was defeated. That it was mostly defeated. It was the game that they won was at the end of the season.
Yeah,
and I want to say
actually. So yeah,
against y'all. Was it against y'all? Who was it against?
I don't remember.
Well, that's we played them, and I was like, oh God, don't be the first loss. Or the first win. Don't lose this team. But yeah, it's, you know, as teams that have lost to the Chargers of whatever year that was, mm-hmm. you know, going into a game just because you think a team is trash might be the reason that you lose it.
Yeah.
You know, so doesn't matter who our opponent was. They showed up ready to play. Granted, they weren't all pretty wins. Who the hell cares? We won the game.
We won the game, yeah.
A win is a win.
Okay, so, all right. So 16, the Browns 1-15. Rams in 2009, 1-15. Detroit, that's what I was thinking about. 0-16 in 2008.
That's what I was thinking about. They won one game at the very end, and everybody would play them and be like, oh God, don't be the...
I think it was the Chargers. Miami 1-15 in 07. Carolina 0-1, 1-15. Jesus. San Diego Chargers. This was in 2000. This was in 2000? I feel like this is more recent we talk about. Well, they went 1-15 on this one. Hold on, let me keep looking.
Or was it... What year was that you said with Cleveland? Maybe it was the Chargers that lost to Cleveland. Mm-hmm. And that was Cleveland's one win. Was that it?
The Chargers went 1-15 in 2000.
No. When did Cleveland
go?
Yeah.
Cleveland went. That was 1-15 in 2016.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Who was the team that they beat? Was it the Chargers? Is that what we're remembering?
Cleveland beat?
Yeah. Is that what we're remembering?
I don't know. The only team on this list that actually did worse the following year, at least they got the mind scared. Yeah, because I just...
So let's see what you said it was 2016, right?
Yeah, 2016, where Cleveland went 1-15.
It was the Chargers. I thought so. It was the Chargers. Yeah, so that's what we're remembering. The Chargers were the poor victim of Cleveland. And every game, everybody was like, don't be their win. Don't be their first win.
Oh, and they
got to the end, and the Chargers were their first win.
Okay, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah,
okay, yeah.
We knew that
the Chargers got caught up. Yeah, because in our division, we was like, we ain't got time.
Exactly. Yeah. You see, the Chargers fans will tell you, don't go up in there just thinking you're gonna win just because it's a suck ass team. I'm sorry, can I say that?
You can say that.
Okay, just because it's a suck ass team, you can't do that. You can't, because you'll end up like the 2016 Chargers. Mm-hmm. But yeah, and it was downhill after that Bills game, and it fell apart. I think like a blend of Rona injuries and just, to me, arrogance. Mm-hmm. Like all of that just mixed together and formed.
Sydney throwing up her hands.
Trying to think of a good, appropriate word. The foolishness that ensued. Mm-hmm. The foolishness that ensued. And you know what? It pissed me off. Because where do we end up? The playoffs. That first game.
Yeah.
That first we ended there. We ended up there.
Yeah.
Why and why does that piss me off? You want to tell the people?
I think I know what she's talking about. I could be wrong, but I think she's talking about the fact that at the end of the season they played Cleveland, and they didn't take Cleveland seriously. I don't even think I think a portion of your starters weren't even in. But Steelers could have won that game. This was the last game prior to the playoffs, and it was a win in Cleveland's end. And Cleveland won, and a lot of I think I mainly saw it from the young bucks. We're kind of like, I mean, whatever. Cleveland's still Cleveland. We'll see them in the playoffs. This and that in the third, and in the first round they got smacked. And I think that day I didn't even really talk to you at all about football. I think I didn't talk to her at all about that game because like even now I'm still watching my words. But I'll say just to kind of give it people just to kind of give people an idea of how bad it was. There were some people that were saying they can't remember the last time they seen Cleveland do that to the Steelers. And there were also people that were saying that maybe the rivalry between the Steelers and the Cleveland Browns is alive again. That's how bad that game was. When that game happened, I didn't talk to you about it at all. I think I told you the next day or the next morning I saw Joe, and Joe's one of our neighbors, Redskins or Washington football team fan, right? But one of our neighbors and her
Poor soul.
He
can't help it. He's from the area.
But it's one of our neighbors and her coworker. So like I was coming home and I spotted him stopped in the street. And he's like, hey, how your wife doing? And I told him I was like, just give her time. Don't say.
He called me.
No.
He called me, and if you watching, Joe, I ignored your call on purpose. I knew what you were calling for. You weren't gonna bother me that day. We won't doing it. We won't doing it. And you know it. Because when I finally called it back like 2 days later. Mm-hmm. And he picked up and he was like, first thing he said, how you holding up? How you doing? I told him, see, this is why I didn't pick up when you called me on Sunday. Or Monday, whatever day that was that we played.
Yeah. I talked to him. I guess I talked to him. He asked me and I was like, nah. And he was like, so you probably, I would probably wait at least another additional day or so. And I was like, I didn't even say nothing to her. I think that day, look, let me tell y'all something. When that happened, because there are times where we're upset about different games, but when that game happened, I didn't say anything to her about that game. I don't even think I said sorry. Sometimes in some of those games I say sorry. I didn't even say sorry. I didn't say nothing to her. I didn't say sorry. I think I watched that day how I even looked at her on that day. I think one time she got a little snippy, and I was like, "Say less." I wasn't even talking about the game. I was talking about something else, and I was like, "Oh, okay, say less." I didn't. I think Dad that morning called me, or the next morning called me, and my dad and my mom. I think a couple family members. Taylor said, I said who this and that third, and I was like, no.
It was the playoff game they got me. That's what. So it was Sunday because there was no one in that game. So yeah, it was the playoff game that got me really upset. I wasn't as upset about the regular season game. Regular season game because we weren't. I mean, like half our starters weren't starting, which it to me is. It was an interesting decision. Tomlin made the statement that we being the Steelers weren't forming their plan for that last regular season game around keeping Cleveland out, which I mean, I get that. I do. You know, you have your own as an organization, you have your own priorities with making sure that your starters stay healthy and all that kind of stuff. At the same time, it's like, well, it can still be a part of the strategy. Like putting your best second string on the field may have been, you know, a cute thing to do. But whatever, neither here nor there. I mean, some of our starters did get reps, so it's okay, whatever. It's fine. Didn't have any impact on our postseason.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, you're right.
You know, but yeah, just it gave me a little bit of hope that when we did see them the next week, the same team the next week, that they would know what to expect, that you would understand that this is a team that has something to lose. You know, when was the last time they felt so energized? You know what I mean? Going into when was the last time they went into the playoffs?
It's been a minute.
Yeah, so I'm like, this is one of those teams that just because they're here, you know not to sleep on them, right? They're like, oh snap, we made it, feeling cute, think I might win a playoff game. You know, like that to me is a team that's more dangerous. You know what I mean? And the Steelers ain't pick up on none of that. And it's just like, I like Juju. I do. I think he has like great talent. He has he's developed a lot mentally in like just in being able to, you know, react to situations and be clutch even when he's not the receiver on the play. And he showed that a couple times this past season, where he's been able to like save us from turning the ball over, or you know, make those key blocks and all that. Like his football IQ has just gone up. And granted, he's no AB, but I think he's a great asset to our offense. But you know, it's just his arrogance was just your batteries running low.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, his arrogance was just dripping all over the place. You got what is it, Pouncey snapping the ball to the Holy Ghost in the backfield. Folks don't know how to run.
Yeah.
They like couldn't catch the Rona if they was sitting in the middle of a mosh pit, you know, butt naked. And it's just, I don't understand, like dropping passes, just, you know, not being where they're supposed to be, not being able to supposed to be as far as like, you know, route running, being in the spot to catch the ball, being competitive, just not being competitive and not being that same team that just got their ass kicked last week.
Yeah.
By these same people.
Yeah.
It was the same team, Aaron.
It was the same team, but you're right.
The same team.
I logically, I'll say this one more thing, and then I'm ask another question.
Yeah.
When I say this, I do logically get what your coach was talking about. As far as resting the starters, but emotionally, like because that's been the situation between Cincinnati and Baltimore. If that is Baltimore, and it's like if we win, we can keep them out the playoffs. We're keeping you out the playoffs. Period. Like it's logically I understand, but emotionally it's like this is the AFC North, and it's like yes, we're still going to the playoffs. Winning, like for Cleveland, is winning you're in. Well, what they need to be in for? Like no, knock them out. Yeah. Give them no chances.
Yeah.
One question I do have is, because I don't think I asked it earlier, is for the draft coming up. It said this will be dropped, a couple days prior to the draft. So one of the questions I had was where, well, what would you like to see as far as who would you like to see drafted? Like what position for the first round? Or just what are some things that you would like them to target?
Anything on the defense except corner
Mm.
or safety, and not a running back or a wide receiver. Like, please don't draft any more wide receivers. Like, please don't draft any more wide receivers. So I think that there are needs on both sides of the ball. I do feel like there is a need for running back, especially since we just lost Connor Twitch. And, Jalen Samuels is like, what? Like, why?
Yeah.
Who? I literally, I was talking to another Steelers fan. I'm not going to say their name. But.
Was it Tyrone?
No, it wasn't Tyrone.
Because I was like, I say his name. I
thought
him all the way.
It was Tyrone. I say Tyrone's name. I say Tyrone's name. No. No, you know what? I say it was my mom. It was my mom. I was talking to my mother. I was. And
she ain't gonna see this. She don't be watching the channel.
Well, since you said that, she might. That the universe is listening.
All right, I'll shut up. Go ahead.
But yeah. So when we lost Connor, no, I take it back. Right before we lost Connor, when it was announced that they didn't resign him, I got a call from my mom, and she was just like, "WTF? What are they doing?" Mm-hmm. So we were talking about that, and I was like, "Well, I mean, they may be looking at it like, he has had a lot of issues with injury. He hasn't been super consistent. Maybe he's getting to that point, that pivotal point in his career as a running back where he's just going to be unreliable." Mm-hmm. I don't know. This is just what I'm coming up with, because I think I think it was. It just was. I'm sorry. It was. Just leave it out there.
Okay.
But it pissed me off too. But because looking at it, it's like I think when he needed to be clutch, in a lot of those cases, he was when he was healthy.
Yep.
You just work with him to keep him healthy. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's the strength and conditioning coaches not doing their job, or if they just need to figure out what he's doing wrong on his end. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it is. Figure it out, because when he's good, the man is good.
Yeah.
That was one of the jerseys I was actually gonna get. I don't be getting jerseys.
Yeah, I do remember that. You was talking about it.
I don't just be buying jerseys willy-nilly, because folks ain't loyal. They ain't loyal. I got AB jersey, and that was the season following that he decided he was going to act the monkey. And I was just like, see, this is why I don't be buying jerseys until people retire. But yeah, so, so in my conversation with her, I was like, they're probably looking at it like, we've got Jalen Samuels, and she was like, who? I was like, well, yeah, well. And my mom, for folks that don't know, she's more like the ace when it comes to just knowing like a lot of stats and stuff.
A lot of old school stuff.
A lot of old school stuff. She's big on like history and stats. Like, that's her thing. And so she'll know the current players that are doing well. And if they're not doing well, or they're not starting, who? Yeah, so the fact that she said that, I was like, well, well, now there it is. Yep. There it is. There you have it. Benny Snell. I want to like Benny. I want to, but he's no James Conner. Not at this point in his career. Mm-hmm. And And McFarland.
He's relatively new, isn't he?
Mm-hmm. At least he is with us. I can't remember if we drafted him or if we signed him from somewhere else. I don't remember. Mm-hmm. But it's just we're hurting at running back, if you ask me. Mm-hmm. Not as much as not as much as our secondary, but we're hurting at running back. I still don't want them drafting a running back in the first round.
Yeah,
because they historically it's a no. Like that. If I have to describe what their track record is for snagging like solid, reliable running backs, mm-hmm. when they draft running backs, it's a no. Just don't spend your first. You can find running backs later on in the draft.
Yeah. And Le'Veon Bell wasn't even a first round draft pick.
Yeah, it wasn't. And I mean, they've been able to draft successful running backs in the past. Mm-hmm. We were talking about this earlier today. Chris Rainey.
Yep.
He was very good. He just had off the field issues, and he never got a chance to really develop because they cut him loose.
Yep.
James Conner is an example. Like I said, Benny Snell, he's an example. But in their history of running backs,
yeah.
You just have that handful.
Yeah.
And I don't want them spending the first rounder on that. Yeah, not first round. And corner is worse. Will Gay is the last one that I can think that they drafted that I thought was good. Mm-hmm. That's it. Artie Burns, Senquez Golson. He's one that could have panned out well. Mm-hmm. And he just got hurt. And to me, he got hurt. Whatever injury he had, I can't remember what it was, but it happened too soon.
Yeah.
And he wasn't able to start off at whatever level he could have been playing at when he got drafted. Yeah. Like it should have been here, and then he got hurt, so he started out down here, and he just never caught traction.
Yep.
Other than that, trash. They're not good. Yeah. They're not good with that. Don't start off with that.
Yeah, you're talking about, like you said, Cincinnati. The offensive line. Yeah, I'm good. I mean, keep in mind, I want Penei Sewell, but I want Penei Sewell because he's a surefire at number 5. I don't trust them drafting any offensive linemen beyond that.
They're all the way at 5.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's why I want Sewell. But I don't. I mean, I know they need to draft. They need to get some old linemen. I just like it's. I think you said this earlier. Like who has replaced Andrew Whitworth and Kevin Zeitler?
You know what I want?
What?
Nice and neatly packaged up. Is an edge rusher.
Actually, I think
that's what I want.
I think I remember.
No, I like defense.
It may have been Ahmed. Shout out to New Stripe City. It may have been him that. it may have been him that said that he was seeing reports that were saying like pass rushers in this specific draft are kind of like, there's nobody that's sticking out like a Chase Young, a Bosa, like all these pass. Yeah, it's not really one this draft. Could be wrong, but I think that's what he's told me. And then again, it kind of tracks because like you hear about quarterback talk every year, but you also hear about like them pass rushers. Yeah. I haven't heard nothing about pass rushers. Nothing.
Inside linebacker.
Inside linebacker, I think kind of the same thing. Kind of heard some okay. There's some. I think there's like people were talking about. There's some sneaky choices that you could get. That could be like a gem that you could pick up on. But I think it's kind of the same thing as some of the things we heard before. Wide receiver class is once again stacked. That's why I'm not pressed if we don't get Jamar Chase. I know he's a prime time guy, but we need a prime time tackle. Um,
I mean, they've been talking about Najee, and I mean, they get if Steelers pick him up, fine, okay, cool. But it's outside of that. I mean, I think our biggest needs are defense. I just feel like there are too many holes coming out of this past season, and we're actually, to me, Steelers haven't come out and said this. I don't think, but to me, just looking at everything that we've lost, whether it be them just opting not to re-sign guys, or guys just deciding that I'm getting a better deal elsewhere and y'all are going to pay me what I want. We've got too many holes. I think a lot of them are on the defensive side of the ball, and it concerns me. I say this every season that our secondary is trash. We have hate. We have a couple folks back there that have over the past couple seasons have popped in and out. Like, okay, all right, they made a play, they did this. Yeah. But some of the guys that they've had, they either weren't effectively used. Like, who was it? Vince Williams. They kept lining him up with guys, or having him cover guys that
they were lining him up with receivers. I saw, and I was like, wait, Sid, are they lining Vince Williams up against? Why? Mm-hmm. Yeah,
he get burned every time.
I don't know.
He get burned every single time.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, touchdown, such and such.
I'm sitting here thinking that's a busted play or something.
We were watching the game, and they called a touchdown. I was like, watch his Vince Williams. I'm supposed to be covering him.
You just see the back of his jersey.
You see the back of his jersey. Williams.
Why is he?
I don't think so. The guys that they have, I don't think they knew how to use them. Yep. And I guess the other thing is, the Steelers have done a pretty nice overhaul with the coaching staff. Just generally speaking, so that might help things. That might help fill in what I'm perceiving as gaps in the players roster. It might help fix those things that are actually more so like staff issues. So I don't know. Apparently, I'm not getting the edge rusher I want.
We'll see.
I'm not getting the edge rusher.
I'm gonna.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. Lord. Okay. Just to let you all know, she actually got me excited. Next video they're gonna do, probably have a little bit more information about the draft and whatnot. But
yeah, I ain't doing no research.
Yeah, no. This is a safe space. This is space.
And I'm just like, all right. They keep saying, everybody's saying that it's okay if they draft Mr. Harris. And I'm going to take their word for it because I ain't seen him play. I don't know Najee.
Yeah, he good.
That's what y'all say. You know how I feel about things translating to the NFL.
I know you do say.
People look real good on paper. They look real good in college. I'm just saying.
I know, and I love you. I love you for your opinions and for your passion. And she don't give two craps about what anybody else thinks, because that's her opinion.
It is. That's my opinion. I mean, I'll listen. We can have a conversation, but in the end, I still hold my reservations.
She shall not do.
Them drafting a running back for their first round pick. Maybe they should have played worse. This is my thing. If you were gonna lose the way that you lost, get bent over and embarrassed at the end of the season. This is actually the point I was trying to make earlier with why it pissed me off that they lost it at the end of the season the way they did. Because you're going to get all the way to the end, lose like that. So you're, again, bent over and embarrassed. You don't go to the ship. So you're not taking home a ring. You're playing like trash. You let half of your decent starters go. And then now we at the end of the draft pick list because you wanted to be cute and win 11 games and go to sleep.
And ladies and gentlemen, this is why it's a safe space, because sometimes we just need to get certain things off our chest.
I'm done. I got it out. I think. Sure. Nope. Well, we can continue if it comes back out.
Well, you'll see this beauty again sometime next week. Again, make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe to this channel. Thank you for tuning in to what they call like the first episode, the pilot. Thank you for tuning in to the pilot of House Divided. Hopefully, we'll continue to grow with this segment of Play Under Review. Let me know what you think. Any constructive criticism, just let us know. And hey, once again, leave you like I always leave you, with a little flare of the light skin over there. Take it easy.
Who day?
It's who day.
Who day?
Who day?
Who day?
It's who day. It's who day.
With a ring.
I told them I'm gonna leave them where I always leave them. You know what? You know what?
In the playoffs.
Guess what, Sid? Guess what?
Championship.
Guess what?
Championship.
Guess what?
Championship.
Who day?
Championship.
I'm supposed to end it. Who day?